I have been going to the organic market lately and just being overwhelmed by all of the beautiful peaches and blackberries and wonderful fresh fruits. And I've been making pies and all kinds of things. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I saw this recipe for peach cake, and I tried it, and it's just fantastic. So I'm going to show you how to make it, and hopefully you can go out to the market, maybe the organic market on Sunday near your home, and get some fresh peaches like I did and make this. So the dish starts with 3 fresh peaches, and actually it has a very easy to make batter, which essentially is 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and a ½ teaspoon salt. That makes up the dry ingredients. The spices that go into the dry ingredients are a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of cardamom. If you don't have cardamom, don't worry about it, but that makes it extra special. So that makes up our dry ingredients, and then what we're also going to have inside the batter is we're going to do a cup of sour cream, we're going to do 1 stick of unsalted butter, and then 2 eggs. And each one of these dairy and wet ingredients all need to be at room temperature, which is why they're sitting out. And then we've got 1 cup of freshly chopped walnuts or pecans, whatever you like. And that's the ingredients. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking the skins off of the peaches and cutting them up. And I'll just do one for you so you can see how it works here. Really easy. You just cut it down the middle, just give it a little pull, and then all you need to do is very carefully just take off the skins. You don't want to cut too much into the meat. I like to do it with a knife just because I get a lot of precision with that knife. Very carefully there. If there's any extra soft bits on your peach, you won't want to use those. But then once you've got all the skin off, you just want to cut it into little slices like this. So each slice, as you can see, is about 1 inch or 2 long and very thin. So that's going to go into layers of the peach cake, and I'll show you how that all comes together in a few moments. So stick around, I'll show you how to make the batter, layer the cake, and get it baked. So now we're going to start the batter. I've already actually started blending the butter and the sugar, and I wanted to just show you, after blending it for about 3 to 5 minutes on medium-high, it looks really light and fluffy. So that's the texture that you want to get before you add the sour cream and the eggs, and then the dry ingredients. So let's put this in, get it started again, and we'll start to add the other ingredients. So here goes the sour cream. All at once. Starts to make it nice and thick. At this point, we're beating it at about on a slow. There's 1, 2 eggs. Careful not to get any of those shells in your eggs, but I think we're okay there. And then give it a scrape down to make sure everything is nice and combined. Give it a little scrape down. Get it started just a little bit more. Oops. And keep it on low. Put in that teaspoon of vanilla. And then you just want to add the dry ingredients slowly. And as I said, I had some cardamom in here. I have the flour. I have the baking soda and baking powder. And I'm just going to add it a little bit at a time with my whisk. I always whisk my dry ingredients up a little bit first before I add them, just to make sure that they are well combined before putting them into my wet ingredients. And you can see that's combining really nicely there. And we'll put in the rest. And there we go. We've got a beautiful batter, and I'll show you momentarily how that looks when we start to combine it and layer it with the peaches. Just beautiful. Okay, here we go. This is the fun part. So we're layering the batter with the peaches and the sugar, And what I've done actually is I've taken my prepared pan, this is a square pan, 8 by 8, and I gave it a little butter on the bottom to keep the cake from sticking. And I took half of the batter that I created and I put it nice and evenly on the bottom. And then I'm just going to take my peaches one by one. And by the way, I sprinkle these with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of cinnamon in addition to my cup of sugar and my half cup of sugar and my cinnamon mixture in here, which will go on the topping. But I've got a little bit of sugar and cinnamon mixed in there. You can just move that around with your hands. And then essentially what you do is you just lay in your peaches just like that, one by one, and you make a peach layer. And then on top of this, we're going to put another batter layer. And then on top of that, we're going to put some of the combined walnuts, or pecans if you like, and some sugar and cinnamon mixture. And that becomes the topping. And then what you have is a peach layer cake that's going to really knock your socks off, guaranteed. You can serve it with whipped cream or ice cream or just completely unadulterated just by itself. And of course, the sweeter your peaches are, the better it's going to be. Fresh peaches are delicious, just delicious. You can also make this with frozen peaches, but fresh is really best. So there we go. We've got a little layer right there that you can see how pretty that is. Isn't that gorgeous? And then we'll just throw on, oops, let's do this quickly. Let's put about half of that sugar. So again, that was 1/2 cup of sugar, with a teaspoon of cinnamon in it, mixed up. I'm putting about a half of that mixture right on the peaches. And then your final layer, just like that. So 2 layers of batter, 2 layers of peaches, and then your nut topping. And try to get it spread out as best you can there. Again, this doesn't have to be super perfect. Some of the unevenness of the batter is partly what makes it pretty and very homemade looking. But we are going to just spread it out to cover the peaches as much as we can, just like that. And don't be afraid to use your fingers to get in there as well. That's also part of the fun. And get that last bit of batter right there in the corner, just so that there's batter touching all of the peaches on top. So they're just slightly covered. The batter will spread out a bit, so that's okay. Finish it up with the last bit of peaches on top. And then topping in the oven at 350 for about 40 to 45 minutes. You definitely want to make sure that it's completely cooked all the way through. So as you normally would with baked goods, you want to put your knife in and make sure that the cake part is fully cooked. Very important. The moisture from the peaches are going to give it that extra moisture, so just be ready for that. And don't be worried about it if you need to cook it for a couple more minutes if it's not quite there. So we've got our sugar mixture, we've got our walnuts, and when this comes out, it's so beautiful. And it's a really nice alternative to peach pie, peach cobbler. I personally am a big cake lover, so I love the combination of the cake and the fruit. And there we go. It's all covered. It's going to be fantastic. And there you go. That's what it's going to look like. We're going to put it in the oven, and then we'll take it out and show you how delicious it tastes. So our peach cake is out of the oven, and I wish you could smell it because it smells fantastic. Looks even better. And I'm going to cut a piece so you can see how beautiful it is on the inside as well. This particular cake, for whatever reason, was really moist, and so I did have to cook it for another about 10 minutes after I tested it the first time. But it is looking gorgeous. Look at that. It's still very hot. I highly recommend that you let it cool before you cut it. But just so you can see how beautiful, there's your peach cake. just delicious. If you'd like to find more recipes like this, or just keep up to date with what's happening on the Brown Lounge and the things that we're discovering, food, wine, and all kinds of events that have to do with things that foodies love, check us out on the Brown Lounge on Facebook, Twitter, or on YouTube. And tell us what you think.